Hello, my wonderful friends. It's me again, and it's time for another story. This is a tale from Reddit user Not a Milady. I still really like your name. This is the Barnbeards, a rant. I'm not sure what a barnbeard is, but it already makes me uncomfortable. So let's see what it is, shall we? Let's do it together, like a family. Hello, Moonhorse. Hi. And the Moonherd. It's been a while since I last posted. Life's been a bit crazy. For starters, my business is going really well and keeping me busy. That's great. Because of this, I was finally able to buy my first horse. Part of me is incredibly excited for that. The other part of me says, why would you buy my brethren like that? That's horrible. I'm just kidding. I'm very proud of you. He's a sweetheart. He's older but very energetic and has such a funny personality. They usually are quite interesting, aren't they? I'm boarding him at a barn currently, and anyone who's ever boarded a horse knows that barn drama is inevitable. And this particular drama involves two Legbeard sisters, or cousins, or something like that. I'm not entirely sure, actually. I don't believe they're on Reddit, but I'm going to keep details as vague as possible, just in case. My horse is also a very well-known horse in my state's horse showing community, so unfortunately, I don't feel comfortable adding any pictures of him just yet. I mean, considering what you're worried about, that makes perfect sense, although I'm sure he's very majestic and quite handsome. But not as handsome as me. Also, a warning, this story contains references to animal abuse and other things that... I'm worried about this. This is going to be bad. So let's introduce the cast. Myself. I'm sorry, you give me an option to say that, and I'm going to. My horse, Lancelot, not his real name, obviously. The Legbeards, A and B, and their horse, Granny. A bit of a backstory. A and B bought Granny from a kill pen for $200 and co-own her. First off, I'd like to say that the word kill pen makes me incredibly uncomfortable. I don't know what that is, but I'm afraid I'm going to find out, and I'm afraid I'm going to like it even less. Nobody is sure exactly how old she is, but we're guessing around 20 to 25. Apparently, she was in really bad shape when they bought her, but aside from putting on a little bit of weight, she's not improved much in the year and a half that they've had her. Oh, poor dear. A and B don't do much with Granny, to be honest. They feed her, but they don't do any of the routine maintenance that horses require, such as hoof trimming, teeth floating, or even grooming. You can't just not do that. Dude, what? Even I know you're not supposed to do that. Granny can't eat without dropping food everywhere because her teeth are overgrown. Oh, that poor dear. This poor baby. The real kicker of this story is that A and B are, in all honesty, terrified of horses. I'm really not sure why they bought one to begin with, but I suspect this is why they don't do much for her besides throw some hay every morning and scrape a little manure out of her stall once in a while. I'm lost. Like, why? Just so much why. The barn owners try to be as hands-off as possible with boarders, but she has to have talks with them about taking care of their horses. They'll step it up slightly for a little bit, but then go back to the same routine. A few months back, Granny injured one of her hind legs somehow. I think she cut it on something in her stall, but it wasn't a big deal when it happened. It wasn't exactly deep or anything, but, it did bleed. Normally, for something of that nature, you clean the wound, put some antibiotic ointment on it, cover it up, simple enough. Yeah, really. A and B, however, decided just to leave it alone. What started out as a small cut turned into an abscess that desperately needed veterinary attention. Oh my god, that poor horse. A and B decided to throw some alcohol on it and wrap it up. I didn't hear anything about it again after that. Now we go to our most recent events. At most boarding barns, you pay a monthly fee for boarding, food, stall cleaning, but if you want to clean your own stall, you can save a little bit of money. I cleaned Lancelot's stall myself. A and B switched between themselves cleaning Granny's. At the beginning of the year, I needed to go out of town, and I asked A and B if they would clean Lancelot's stall for me while I was away. Could I ask you guys to clean Lance's stall for a few days? I can clean Granny's for you in the future, so neither of us have to pay the cleaning fee. Ugh, do we have to turn him out? He's out of control, and I don't want to deal with him. Note, Lance is absolutely not out of control. His breed is known for being very energetic, and he loves to kick up his heels and buck while he's in the pasture with the other horses. He's not wild, he's just very happy to be alive. He snaps right back to focus when he knows it's time to work. Again, A and B are scared to death of horses, including their own. No, someone else has that covered, so would you guys be willing to do that for me? Sure, if it's just cleaning. My trip came and went. When I got home, Lancelot's stall was pretty filthy. Lance had laid down in his own manure, and his coat was crusty and wet. Oh my god. I asked the barn owner if A and B had cleaned his stall, like I asked. I saw B mucking out the other day after you left, but I didn't see anything after that. Maybe they just forgot? I was not happy about it, but I decided to let it go. After a good bath and a brush, Lance is good as new. About 2 weeks later, I woke up around 5 a.m. to a text from A. We just left home for a trip. Can you clean Granny's stall for this week? Sure. When will you be back? In a few days. That's vague, but okay. I get to the barn a little bit earlier, so I have time for both stalls before work. Let's just say I got a little more than what I bargained for. Granny's stall was a mess. It looked like A and B would scoop manure, but then they wouldn't put anything down to soak up urine. She was standing in puddles of stale urine, and the entire stall smelled really bad. I've never interacted with Granny before, but what I saw broke my heart. She had urine scald all over her hind legs, meaning she would pee on her legs so much to the point that the hair fell out and the skin was red and flaky. Oh my god. Her hooves were severely overgrown, flaking, and one of them cracked all the way up. She looked like she'd never been brushed. She was covered in mud from the pasture, manure, urine, clumps of matted hair. Her mane was roached off, basically a buzz cut for horses, and her tail was cut short. I imagine A or B had done this so they wouldn't have to deal with brushing. But what was left of her tail was knotted and dirty. I also noticed a large lump on her hind leg. This is where things get gross, and this is the only warning I'm going to give you. I slowly approached her, talking softly, but she was not comfortable with me. When she jumped away from me, the lump on her leg burst open. She was bleeding, and there was pus, and it came down the leg, and even worse, a smell, a really bad smell. This would be the result of the wound that A and B had quote-unquote treated forever ago. Please tell me you called somebody. Holy fuck, dude. With help from the barn owner, we were able to throw a halter on Granny and tie her up so we could look at the leg. She was shaking all over and would tense up whenever we tried to touch her. While the barn owner called the vet, I gave Granny a brush. She shied away at first, but then leaned into it and closed her eyes, enjoying every second. I made a pile of shed hair and filth about the size of the owner's German Shepherd. Unfortunately, there was not much I could do about her hooves. I got them clean, but they really needed to see a farrier. Over the next few days, I spent a little extra time at the barn with Granny. She went from shying away from people to excitedly trotting up to the stall gate whenever we walked by. She still wasn't comfortable with being touched everywhere, especially around her tail and legs. I learned later that she had a bad yeast infection, which is why her stall smelled really bad. Jesus, poor thing. A and B are still gone as of today. It's been 2 weeks. I'm not sure where they are or when they'll return. Both the barn owner and I have tried reaching them with no success. I'm not sure why this neglect was allowed to go on for so long, and I'm not sure what the next steps for Granny will be, but I am happy to say that she has improved a little. Her abscess is starting to heal, and we're getting her hooves treated. Her coat's looking better, and she's much more comfortable around people. She loves treats and having her face brushed. I took her out for a little bit of exercise, and it's clear that she has a good amount of training at some point in her life. Part of me hopes that A and B don't come back for Granny so she can find a good home somewhere else. But unfortunately, that's outside of my hands at this point. All I can say is if they do come back, they're coming back to a hefty vet bill and charges for my time, the barn owner's time, and the supplies I've bought to keep their horse comfortable. The barn owner said I don't have to keep taking care of her, but I don't mind. She and Lance are good friends now, and they'll run around the pasture together and stand under the tree grooming each other. I know the actual Legbeards weren't in this story for long, but this just goes to show how little regard they have for anything outside of themselves, and it really upsets me. Granny did not deserve any of what happened to her, but for some people, the status of owning an animal is more important than the animal itself. I'm sorry for being a downer, but I really needed to get this off my chest. Thank you, all of you, for being your amazing selves, and thank you, Moonhorse, for creating this awesome community. Well, I just want to say that I think you all created this awesome community, first off. And secondly, if the barn owner hasn't, like, basically said this, I'm pretty sure you can, talk to, like, animal control or some sort of legal action at this point. That is straight up just neglect, abuse, and abandonment, and pretty sure that's big time illegal. You can't really do that to an animal. Like, large animals do need care, and you do need to give them exercise. They definitely need it. Even if all they'd want to do is walk around or just run around for a little bit. That's totally fine. But what these two are doing are basically just not taking care of an animal. They are just straight up ignoring this poor horse's needs and doing whatever they want. And I'm guessing that the point of buying the horse was to show off money, because I have noticed a lot of people do that. They don't buy horses because they're interested in the entire life of this animal or the, kind of lifestyle that surrounds it, be it, professional riding or horse shows or anything, really, just anything. My dad races horses professionally on a ranch. And, I mean, he does horseback riding, but he said, like, a lot of times that's not a part of your day sometimes. Sometimes you're just out there making sure they're okay and, spending time with them so they get used to people and things like that. And I'm not much for horseback riding myself, but I could see, just generally taking care of them. That's fine with me. I don't see a problem with that at all. But that is the whole point. Like, you have to work on it. There's always going to be people like that who just... This is the same thing as, like, when rich people want tiny dogs because, oh, look how adorable it is, it's on social media, and now I'm done. Now that it's not, gaining me attention or votes or whatever the fuck you use on social media. I don't know what TikTok does. Up arrows? I don't know. I don't have a TikTok. And before you ask, I'm not getting one. So, some people just do that kind of shit for attention. And it feels like A and B basically did that. They had enough money to somehow get a hold of a horse to be like, yeah, we're a horse people. Look how important we are. And then they just fucking ghost. And I don't want to be this person. Especially because this is a sad, but also maybe kind of a good note. Because they didn't say when they're coming back, and they obviously aren't returning calls, they may just be ghosting you guys. You may want to tell the barn owner to be prepared that they may just be ghosting. Because I have seen that happen. Like, I've heard stories where that kind of shit happens. Where somebody's just done with taking care of a certain animal, and they just bail. They just straight up fucking leave. So, in that case, I think that you should do, what you can to take care of this horse. Obviously, you don't have a problem with that, and you're very happy to do it. But you may be looking for, like, a new home or something for this animal, because they may just be doing that. I don't know that they are. I don't know these people. But that does kind of strike me as the behavior of somebody who would just, like, do that. I have known, like, really shitty people from the past who I haven't seen since I was, like, maybe in my late teens, early 20s, whose answer for finding a dog that they didn't want anymore was to just drive somewhere and leave the dog there. Yeah, it's pretty fucked. So, yeah. But, I don't know. I guess we'll see. Either way, keep us posted. It sounds like your horse has a new friend, and, I mean, if it is like that and they just decided to bail and the barn owner's okay with it, whatever things you have to do, and it's not like a huge stress, you may find yourself in possession of a second horse and a best friend for yours. They don't all have to be, fancy race horses and show horses to be good people, or just good friends. So that's it for this video, you guys. If you have your own stories to send me, r/Moonhorse Stories, I'll check them out. I am launching my new podcast soon. If you're not subscribed to my Spotify, you can check that out. The Spotify will be where videos, a lot of my videos, but more specifically the podcast, will start there. And the idea is that for every, like, podcast that's made, 1 week in advance, more or less, I believe, is kind of how we want to schedule this. If you join the Spotify thing, you get early access to it. I will try to, either a week or 2 weeks after that's done, post it to YouTube, but I don't really know what the time frame is. But yeah, if that's interesting to you, if you want to hear like more candid thoughts between me and some other friends and some other people that I want to try and get together on this podcast about neckbeards and all these other things, you can do that. You can join us there. It's also on Anchor, which is where a lot of this comes from, but I know a lot of people have Spotify specifically. But either way, you can look into it. I also have a Ko-Fi and a merch store, which are some of the many ways we keep the lights on in here so we can keep doing stuff like this. If you would donate to that or check those out, I'd greatly appreciate it. If you can't, that's okay too. Every Saturday, well, technically every weekend, the stream schedule has changed from Friday to Sunday. There's game streams with myself and Sango on Friday night and Sunday night, and Saturday nights are regular look at weird stuff on the internet stream. They're all fun, and you're more than welcome to join us, and we would love to see you there. I also have a Discord if you'd like to just come hang out with the rest of the Moon Herd and tell stories and do all kinds of weird stuff. Totally an option. I love you all so very, very much, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye, everybody.